How's it going? Dave here, and welcome to this lesson on double stops. Double stops are really great for your soloing, so if you can start adding them into your playing after this lesson, you're going to see a huge improvement in your playing. So let's jump straight into the lesson, or quickly before we start the lesson. You can grab my book, Neo Soul Guitar, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide, for free down in the description. If you're interested, go and grab it. Double stops, okay? Double stops are where we're playing two notes at the same time. Like that, okay? It gives your soloing a more horizontal approach. So when we're playing with scales, for example, the pentatonic scale is very vertical this way across the neck. But when we're doing double stops, it gives you a more horizontal sort of approach across the fretboard when you're soloing. Of course, when you're using scales, you can play horizontally, but it's a little bit harder, isn't it? Okay. Now, there are three different types of double stops that I think sound the best. We've got thirds, we've got fourths, and we've got sixths. And we're going to be covering all three types of double stops in today's lesson. So let's get started with thirds. So we're going to be playing in the key of C today. Let's take a look at the thirds we can play on the top two strings. We're going to take a look at how we can play them on the G and B strings as well. So first of all, we're playing the first fret of the B string in the open E string. Then we're playing 3 and 1. Then we're playing 5 and 3, 6 and 5, 8 and 7, 10 and 8, and then we're playing 12 and 10 as well. Okay, altogether we've got something that sounds like this. And maybe we could play the first one an octave higher, like that. So, those are the thirds in the key of C on the top two strings. Let's take a look at how to play the thirds in the key of C on the G and B strings. So we're starting off with the second fret of the G string and the first fret of the B string. Then we're playing 4 and 3. Then we're playing 5 and 5. Then we're playing 7 and 6. Then we're playing 9 and 8. Then we're playing 10 and 10. And then we're playing 12 and 12. Alright? So those are what the thirds in the key of C sound like on the G and B strings. So we've got a lot of options there. Of course, you can learn them across the fretboard on all string sets, but we're just covering these two string sets as one, they're the most useful for soloing, and two, would be here all day if we were to learn every string set. Okay, so let's take a look at a lick we could play using thirds. So here it is, and I'm going to play a backing track, and you can take a listen. So they sound really, really cool over that backing track. Now, if you want the backing track, you can download it down below in the description at my Patreon page, along with tabs for all of the licks in today's video. Okay, so that's thirds. The next type of interval that we're going to be using for double stops is fourths. So let's take a look at how we can play fourths in the same string sets. Okay, so here is the first string set, the E and B strings. Okay, so we're playing 1 and 1. 3 and 3, 5 and 5, 6 and 7, 8 and 8, 10 and 10, and 12 and 12. Sounds like this. Alright, now let's take a look at how we can play them on the G and B strings. So, we've got open and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and then we've got 10 and 12. So there's a gap there, a bit bigger than the other ones, okay? And then maybe we can repeat the first one again an octave higher, just to make it sound a bit more resolved, okay? Now let's take a look at the lick that I've prepared using fourths. So here is what it looks like. Let's take a listen. Sounds really, really cool as well. Okay, so that's fourths. Now, the technique I was using, let's get rid of that. The technique I was using for playing this solo was hybrid picking. And hybrid picking is what I'm covering in my Patreon weekly practice routines. Okay, so every week on a Monday, I give all my Patreons or all my patrons a weekly practice routine to help improve their playing. So if you want to take part in these weekly practice routines, we're currently doing a month-long deep dive into hybrid picking, into all the techniques and mechanics. So if that sounds interesting to you, head down to my Patreon page. It's just $2.50 a month, and you're going to be learning loads of stuff. And that's not the only thing we're learning. We're learning about different types of chord voicings as well. Let's move on to the final interval that we're going to be taking a look at, and that's sixths, okay? So let's get rid of the tab, and let's take a look at sixths. So sixths are my absolute favorite interval to play as double stops. They just sound really, really beautiful. These are the ones on the the G and E strings. As you can see, there's a gap. We're skipping a string here, okay? Now, this is where hybrid picking really does come in handy. So I would highly recommend, if you're not familiar with the hybrid picking technique, going down into my Patreon page and taking a look at the deep dive we're doing. Okay, so we're going 2-1, 4-3, 5-5, 7-7, 9-8, 10-10, and 12-12. All right. They just sound really, really beautiful, don't they? Now let's take a look at the second string set that we're going to be playing sixths on, and that's the D and B strings. So we've got 2 and 1, 3 and 3, 5 and 5, 7 and 6, 9 and 8, 10 and 10, and 12 and 12. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sounding double stops right there. So let's take a look at the lick that I've written using double stop sixths, okay? That's the wrong lick. Here is the lick. Let's take a listen. I think you can see why sixths are my favorite. They sound so, so nice. Okay, now to finish things off, let's take a look at a lick that combines fourths, thirds, and sixths together and creates a really cool double stop sounding lick. So here it is. As you can see at the beginning, we're using some fourths that are palm muted. Then we're doing some slides with some sixths. Then in the second bar, we're using thirds, and then at the end there with those hammer-ons, you can see we're turning fourths actually into thirds by adding hammer-ons on the second string. Okay, so that's something really cool you can do. Something like that. Okay, so let's take a listen to the lick. So, as you can hear, double stops sound really, really, really cool. Start adding these into your playing. Remember, thirds, fourths, sixths, they give your playing a more horizontal kind of approach. So then it makes it easier to switch between your pentatonic shapes as well. It's really, really, really great to start adding double stops into your playing. And I hope this video has been really helpful. If you like, you can download my free Neo Soul Guitar ebook. That's going to show you everything you need to know to get started with Neo Soul Guitar. And if you want to learn about hybrid picking, as I said, we're doing a month-long series on my Patreon page about hybrid picking, and also we're going over drop 2 voicings at the moment. Drop 2 voicings are a really great way to play 7th chords. Just gives you some more options for your playing. So if that sounds good to you, you can head to my Patreon, or you can grab the free ebook, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one. See you later.